Maui in, gosh, 1992, is that possible? Some of my oldest friends are here. I picked up Terry Rowe, the first friend I made, picked her up at a Bob Dylan concert, and we've been rolling ever since. I've infected her with poetry. She now not only does airplane books, but does books about travel to Africa and sticks poems in them. So I look around here and I see so many people that have shared poetry with me over the years, and it is wonderful. We've been doing poetry here since 1994, Maui Live Poets, and we've been reading regularly since that time. So it's been a very long-standing series, and a lot of people come and go, but it's interesting what a core group we have. And we go on retreat 4 times a year. We just came back from a spring retreat where we had a rollicking good time, wrote some good poetry, and come to a retreat sometime. So what I'm going to do is open up with a Wonderland poem. My first book of poetry is called Leaving Wonderland. Actually, my second book of poetry, but my first solo book. And I wrote this just before I left the Bay Area and moved out here. So I'm going to take you through a journey into Melinda Land. So join me. And this is a poem that is dedicated to a woman I respected very much. She was blind when she was my poetry mentor, but she had remarkable sight. And this is for Maggie Kiersgaard, who continues to see more clearly than most. Wonderland. Rose bouquets here, blazing with fiery trails of color and scent, green, glittering world of improbability is lit like a devilish dervish from the past. Glimmering, mischievous cats smile, reminding Alice at home was never this much fun. Alice knew of the banker's hours and scheduled vacations, her excursion into Wonderland. Unhinging the doors of reliable information were surely the only way to really believe in flamingo golf clubs and dropping into hallways. The illusions linger. What was the door into Wonderland all about, anyway? The visions persist, hatch the patina of childish memories, folding doors into the past, where the patchwork quilt of your childhood waits in a lost dream, checkered with sunlight and leafy shadows, streaming through the door before you left and entered reality. Desert Lass. I am from the desert, where the sand is hot, the mountains blue, and the wind never ceases. People there are sturdy, industrious. They have to be, you know, to overcome the heat, the unchanging skyline. So many memories fill me when I think of the Mojave of my childhood. I remember coyotes and lizards and cactus always at the periphery of the rare desert gathering, people roasting sides of beef and drinking beer and sangria and singing in the canyons, their noise blotting out the great silence that lines their existence. Always have a flashlight, canned goods, and water in the car, the old-timers say. Sometimes I can still smell the sharpness of springtime sage and hear the cry of the desert owl as it searches in the dusk for prey. This was written in February 2001 at the Lahaina House. For those of you who remember the Lahaina House. There is in this moment. There is in this moment, with torchlight flaring, stars making way in the heavens. Here on Hawaiʻi, we touch the earth. The clay from which we came springs up through our being. Desecrated by sorrows and disappointments, still we rise into that moment of wonder, of fire in the night, of waves crashing at our feet. In this ceaseless drama, we but look into ourselves, our dreams, and the wonder of the Spirit's call, leaving behind old times, old beginnings. old disasters. Here is the call of fresh bait, fresh surf, new sights, new loves, served by instinct rather by logic to move to Maui. A speck on a speck on a speck. Is this the final lunacy or a dream embarking of the soul into something we could not dream from the old patterns left behind? Now, in the singing of the surf, we hear our deeper rhythm, voices singing within us. We court our Creator, praying for the voice, the inspiration, the dream of being that enabled us to arrive and now may enable us to ascend. Our goal, our purpose, Hawaiʻi, how your voice sings in the high wind and in my heart, helpless before your call. I await the next inspiration, hoping to hear the voice of truth, the reason of being. Yeah. Winter jump it out, you know.
That's
Did
a
you ever
good
get that turn around
beginning.
so many times you get dizzy, and then if you jump, everything comes back. Winter weather, thistles and storms. Let me put on my cap of thistles and storms and run down the paths of winter. I have come through a spring of babies and beauty, left a summer of husbands with bullying borders. My seasons were full of laughter and confusion. They led me to this wild land, where I have swum with wide-eyed dolphins and passed through starry canyons to find friends that feed my wanderlust. My workday is now filled with children, my nights quiet with cats and poetry. But I am still on the search, looking for an answer, believing the path of winter will lead me to its door. Okay, this is a belated Valentine for Gary, who some winters ago was on the Hokulea. A belated Valentine for Gary, because he couldn't get it till he got back. A belated Valentine for Gary. It's very quiet here now, and although you are on the Hokulea somewhere in the blue, last evening you were on my mind, and tonight thoughts of you tumble in free fall from an infinite memory. They are never ending, like the stars in the night sky. This is another one for Gary. It's called My True North. My True North. Polaris, the North Star, circles in the galaxial chain of planets with all the celestial bodies in the universe, planets and their satellites, comets and meteors, the stars and interstellar matters, the star system known as galaxies and clusters of galaxies to which the Earth belongs. Link back to Polaris, star of true north. Polaris, part of the universe, moves with the galaxy as I do with you, the constant in my life, always there, the gravitation of your steady light blinding at times. The cosmology of you, my true north, shining from the small dipper, enfold me in your steady radiance. We are part of a movement far beyond our ken. Heavenly bodies moving in a manner that defines time and direction, the trailing moments that brought us into orbit. Continue. And I am still on course with you, my lodestone, my touchstone, my true north, always strong and tracking across the limitless space we call life. There you are, constant, whirling with the bright sun which divides day from night, our latitudes guided by your light with me, your Southern Cross, a Leo prideful disguised as woman, a cat masquerading who found that love made one, complete, pure, total, flawless, ideal, genuine, real, actual, valid, due to the trackless Ursa Minor. You, North Star, are my compass in this life on constellation Milky Way. Isn't that fun? And this one I wrote for Lawrence, who is conspicuous by his absence. It's called Poetry Country for Lawrence. I wandered into a canyon filled with stars and saw you there, standing fixed against the night sky, filled with verse and something more, something we call love for lack of a better word. I knew we would walk together forever, bound in the sand and rocks and canyons here. We call it Poetry Country, but I know it's really a boundless universe called Lawrence and Melinda. Okay, and I would like to read a poem for Dawn. I wrote this today, and Timmy read for him earlier. That was The Old Man by the Sea. And this was our Dawn. It's entitled, It Was You, Dawn, But Not You. It was you, Dawn, but not you. 3:10 it was when I arrived, your small grandson holding my hand. He led me into your room where bright flowers surrounded you, head to foot. His small hands had picked and arranged them. You were lying so still on the bed in the late afternoon, your black, broad-brimmed hat on, your gray mane brushed back smoothly, your eyes shut in hollowed sockets, so correctly closed. Crisp white shirt on your so lean frame, black natty slacks, and those great Italian shoes you love to wear. Your large fine hand clasped the elegant cane you used to dance with and play with and walk with. I remember we danced at Margarelle's. No cane that night. They threw us out because they had, no dancing license. So we danced on the sidewalk.
Never heard that one.
A gorgeous, flaming dance of truth and beauty and freedom. 3:10 it was when I arrived. It was you, Dawn, but not you, lying there so silently, no raucous gaiety, no witty repartee. I just beat the mortuary's long vehicle. It lay in wait in the falling afternoon light when I emerged, angst-filled, from your door. Perhaps it was the sunlight in my eyes that made me cry when I smiled and said goodbye to you. It was you, Dawn, but not you. You were always so much more. And this one's called, in the same spirit, Feathers in the Sky. Feathers in the sky. Mina bird on Poly Highway moves too slowly for oncoming traffic. Rental car swoops by, leaving a flood of feathers storming in the air. And you, little bird, are now a small heap on the highway. As I drive by in my rearview mirror, I see your feathers still floating in the air. Your airy spirit perhaps winging up to Mina bird in heaven. And I want to kind of break gears a little bit and read a poem in honor of my foster father, who was the first one to really encourage me in poetry, and who got my first published poem done in Sage and Pine, which was a Sierra Club publication. So this is in memory of my mama, who was a farmer and a rancher, and he loved this poet. This is a poet called Badger Clark. He's a cowboy poet. And he's sort of like the Robert Service of the West. Really amazing stuff. This is called Ridin'. Ridin'. There is some that like the city, grass is curried smooth and green, theaters and strangling collars, wagons run by gasoline. But for me, a toss and saddle every day without a change, and a desert sun ablazing on 100 miles of range. Just a ridin', desert rippling in the sun, mountains blue along the skyline. I don't envy anyone when I ride. When my feet is in the stirrups and my hoss is on the bust and his hoofs a flash and lightning from a cloud of golden dust. And the bawling of the cattle is a coming down the wind. But a finer life of riding would be mighty hard to find. Just a ridin', splitting long cracks through the air, stirring up a baby cyclone, ripping up the prickly pear. And I'm riding. I don't need no art exhibits when the sunset does her best. Painting everlasting glory on the mountains to the west. And your opry looks foolish when the night bird starts in tune, and the desert's silver mounted by the touches of the moon. Just a riding. Who can envy kings and czars when the coyotes down the valley are singing to the stars? And I ride. When my earthly trail is ended and my final bacon curled, and the last great roundup's finished at the home ranch of the world, I don't want no harps nor halos, robes, nor other fancy things. Let me ride the starry ranges on a pinto horse with wings. Just a riding, nothing I'd like half as well as a rounding up the sinners that have wandered into hell. Just a riding. Isn't that wonderful?
Who's that riding?
Badger Clark. I'll have this for you to look at. That's just a sample of his work.
What was the title of that?
A riding.
Okay.
This is a poem for my children. It's called Monty and Mariah. It's written January 2009. They're both adults. Monty and Mariah. My vision keeps blurring, and I see children, even babies, instead of my tall son and daughter. So long, yet a moment ago they were at my breast or knee. Now they are at the wheel. Their life now launched, and I am grateful, just grateful for this motherhood feast. A long New Year visit closes, and Monty drives Mariah to the airport for me. They seem so happy together, a unit of two, fused in love and laughter, a communion of two. I watch them drive down the narrow walled road, their heads so dear, illuminated by headlight and truck tail light, driving away, sound, sure, ready to live their lives, and I am grateful, just grateful for this motherhood feast. This is a short one from my mom. Mom, she smelled like vanilla. She had skin with that impossible glow, soft brown eyes and red lips. Those attributes were always remembered by men and women too. But I mostly remember that she was always my mom, still fierce in my defense to her last day. These are poems I rarely read anywhere, but I thought I would share them today. This one's a poem called Daddy. Daddy. The moments are 365 days older now, and Dad, the moments you never rocked me in your arms are still the ones I miss. Disjointed childhood memories of a man's smiling face trimmed with shaving cream in the bathroom mirror and a voice singing "K-K-K-K" are hardly enough to fill in a box-colored daddy in a little girl's heart. You disappeared when I was 4, and I didn't see you again until I was 22. Oh yes, your wild stories about the Gohn family and the long distance crackling on the holidays are still floating in my memory banks. Deposited on account, the bank teller is still bringing forward a zero balance, a zero window to my marrow. A little girl still wondering where you went, even though I heard later about the whiskey smuggling during the war and how Mom had said she'd put you in jail for back child support and other infractions. Yeah. But those yellow laughter moments are still missing. Only scattered voices, staccato, echoing over long distance, and a bicycle you sent me when I was 10. And lived in the lonely moments of unadorned childhood are lying in the memory banks. The bicycle was blue and had a basket. I learned how to ride with no hands, and sometimes with my eyes shut on that smoking desert asphalt, feeling the hot air flowing over my hair, I felt your love for me a little on that bicycle. A year before you died, I went to see you. The crutches you used for your swollen arthritic knees seemed inadequate. The muscles of your arms straining to make it from one chair to the next. The stroke that followed a year later caught me in the bathroom shower with the phone ringing from an aunt. Funny, she had never called me before. And suddenly, She's telling me that you're in ICU with a massive CVA and my stomach is turning inside out. And I remember you spending that one weekend trying to cram a lifetime into a brief visit with your small granddaughter and me. The year has passed. There was no funeral. Your wife said you wanted it that way. The boat must have gone on the blue Columbia River on a hot day. As your ashes blew in the wind in my eyes. The bicycle is gone. I love that bicycle. It was blue.
What year did you write that one?
A year after he was gone. That would have been the late 80s.
Wow.
And one more poem in that vein, again one I rarely read, but I thought I would read it tonight. This is a poem I wrote for my mom. Before she passed on, she did have an opportunity to see me do some professional dancing, and she always encouraged me. She had some wonderful things to say about my work, and she encouraged me to give 'em hell, honey, she'd say. This is written February 28, 1992. In the morning I shall take a white lei to the ocean for my mother to wear. Cast it whole in the surf, willing it to float to Valhalla, and wrap itself around her neck. I can almost see it now, white plumeria blossoms floating in search of the death angel's lair, wrapping itself in flotsam and seaweed, white curving blossoms folding into the blue, deep waters long past the tideline's surf. Oh, flowers, sing to her when you find her. Sing her a song of my love and my missing her. Sweet verses of childhood gone looking in vain for peace. And the child's voice singing still of lost moments to the sea's memory. The ringing lost in the greater voice of the ocean, Valhalla waits, etched in golden moments and mists of time. Lost forever, her warriors and children still crying for their mother. While the blossoms drift wrapped around her white neck, smelling faintly of vanilla and soft roses, as she always did, her skin soft and rounded, eyes waiting for life's next blow. Now she drifts where mermaids sing, and anger and sorrow is forgotten. Aloha. Mahalo. So I have two more quick family poems, and then I'm going to move on to a different segment. Not done. Okay, this is for my brother David, who died in a motorcycle accident. From my brother's grave. I sit and see as he would see, hear as he would hear the distant shouts of exuberant fans at a nearby high school, and the low vibration of an ocean-going tanker fill the air. Below this peaceful green hill, I see Asiatic women bringing bright orange and yellow flowers to the graves of their dead. Their soft tones sound like music in the breeze. Yes, David must like it here. I feel him smiling in the sunshine. And moving on. This one is for Georgia O'Keeffe, one of my heroines. For Georgia O'Keeffe, the words she could never say to him. No, old man, your eyes are piercing me behind those spectacles, and the iron gray mustache moves about your face like a paintbrush. You talk and talk, hypnotizing those that cluster around your brilliance. But I am no moth. Your heart may shine for me, but the years are full of dusty photographs I can't remember. You would eat my soul like yesterday, and I could never be free. She has the grace of an otter, you've said of me, but I could never swim freely in the oceans of the world. Only a pool with you hand-feeding me would do. Old man, your heart is like a tender rose, and the beauty of time and knowledge shines so tempting. But no, old man, no. My oceans must be my own. A full moon will never shine with white-hot semen between our thighs. The generations has passed between us as the peach trees drop their blossoms. beautiful, dropping, the last color of gold, never seen, only felt, as it touched the empty pool, the otter gone forever. And this one is way different. This one's called Well-Modulated Spectral Analysis at Higher Readings.
This is good.
I used to make a living in spectral analysis. Well-modulated spectral analysis at higher readings. The vacuum cleaner sits in the corner and she dreams of hunting wild elephants or shooting lions against a star-blinding night in Africa. Dishes sit. She walks through the plate glass sliding door and wonders and muses. What a life. It's not so wild and free. But maybe it is. What kind of elephants are hunted here? Spirit singing is supreme, only the subject varies. Roaring lions dot the night of spirit strongholds, climbing through rainforests, chattering monkeys, parrots squall, steam green foliage of the mind is the prey of the huntress.
Green monkeys.
Tropical currents teem anywhere they are cultivated. Trade winds blow, singing of other world, other reality, otherness. Alpha, Omega emerges. Spin, Mandela, spin. The roaring beasts enraged eyes flame red as I sing. Hexacola Mitsuwaki! Hexacola Mitsuwaki! Legends, hunting songs learned as children linger. Bestow secret strength to those who seek within for these fortresses. Self-belief endows success. Strength fits arrows of knowledge flying clean. Blue skies whistle, the sparkling colors rise. Hexacola Mitsuwaki! Hexacola Mitsuwaki! Hexacola Mitsuwaki! That's an Eskimo hunting song. And let's see. Okay. And we're shifting gears, ladies. Okay, to my partners in crime.
Thank you.
Somebody else.
Can't eat it yet? You can't eat this. Got a face on it.
Open them, but don't eat them yet.
We can open them. Oh, that's too much motivation.
That's okay, you can give it to somebody.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank Marette for this inspiration because she created a very interactive reading not so long ago. So I thought I would read some rather sensuous poetry, and in doing so, I would you all to
Yeah. Long overdue.
Hey, you're eating it.
So you may begin to slowly and sweetly savor.
You can do it.
And I'll read a few poems.
Wait,
They're
say
not
that
quite
again?
silly.
We can eat them?
Experimentally useful.
Slowly savor.
This one is called Separation. Separation. Instead of making love to me last night under an airy starred waning moon, he drove away, the polys separating us mile by mile. Once we would have lit the inky sand with our shadows and set our blood afire, forgetting the night in the light of each other.
Too busy eating to clap.
Hope for the spirit.
Taste of love. The taste of love between my legs, the place of dreaming and playing in the sunlight, this place you've led me to through your desire, through your endless curiosity. The lover's chapel where only the fearless refrain. The secret, the place of the secret lake and the sacred river hidden inside me, the pleasure Mama never knew about, this Amrita revealed by the taste of love between my legs. I see your moment's hidden story, leaping inside your eyes, green tinged with dragons, smoke, and crystals that grow with time, this time of spinning webs into our greater destinies, the time of mortal, immortal passions, the fairy image etched in my arching body, lioness leaping, pouring, shaking with the taste of love between my legs. And let's see, this one is there. This is called The Sweaty Side of Paradise. The sweaty side of paradise.
Well, anybody else have any more chocolate?
The sweaty side of paradise. I cannot swallow all of you. Throat clamoring for your taste, breast swelling from your touch, hips answering your call. My mouth sometimes will only call your name. Sweet dark shadows lit by rising color melt in my mind's eye. These nights pass through the glass of passions filling you and me. Blades of power whipping through us as a windmill spins through a gale. I have crossed over into a new land, exploring your senses as a blind woman would touch water, feeling it slip between and through her fingers like the essence of life. Reeling moments of your lips seeking, your hands touching, smoothing my skin, endlessly arcing, changing, softening, until hair flying, toes curling, temples damp, backs wet, skin slippery, we roll through an endless door, and I hear you murmur, eyes closed. We have passed through into the sweaty side of paradise.
Really good for you.
Anybody need a second chocolate?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Maybe pass some milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, we better have it. Anybody got a fan?
There you go. There you go.
Get a little hot and get off.
Yeah.
Well, long hot from them.
A little warm up here in front.
This one's called Rowdy Love Poem.
Oh,
Now, actually, the very first movie tweet out of Kalakaloa, Frank Rich had volunteered to lead a adult poetry session. We were all supposed to meet naked at midnight out on the big rock. So I wrote this poem in preparation for that. No one showed up, but I was ready. It's called Rowdy Love Poem. Oh, yeah. I want to write a rowdy love poem. A poem about juice and sweat and hair and flesh. A poem about a phallus riding triumphantly, watering at heaven's door. A poem about the sweet texture of that skin against my tongue, the place hung with sacks of power and oceans of DNA waiting for receivership. I want to write a rowdy poem, a poem about you riding me, of my feet punctuating the ceiling and my hoarse cries breaking the night's stillness. I want to write a really rowdy poem, love poem, sex poem, heart song about how my thighs clench, about the end madness brought on by your always, always, always goading me to that electric still point that circles salvation and twists me into the stars. Yeah. I want to write a rowdy love poem and then pour it into your mouth.
Y'all get a good look at this room. We're going to miss it.
Well, that was nice.
you're so
Those are
mature.
rare. One or two of those I have not read in public, so you guys have to do that. But I thought it would be fun. It would be fun. I have two poems I'd like to close with. Yeah, okay. This one is for all of us poets. When we go on retreat, something happens to us. We all know about that, and those of you that haven't been to one, you gotta come. You gotta come. It's so much fun. And this is called The Gathering. Once again, we ring the campfire, poets' faces orange in the night. Flames cast them with an otherworldly light. All colliding with their inner truths, a quest we all must take, seeking Dickinson's simplicity or the majesty of a lake. But somewhere in between lies the greatest challenge of all, to speak the inner truth, to hear the poet's call. And gathering as we do, to share our poem, our voice, the muses hear us too, their spirits must rejoice. For in the poem's truth, their songs can still be heard. The muses dread oblivion. They are rescued by our word. And I wanted to read this because I am a peace poet, first, foremost, and above all. And I wrote this in 2008. Things haven't really changed much. Some of you heard me do this a little while back, but I thought I would repeat it tonight since Briggs was so kind of his comment. This is called, It Was the Last Day, Now It's 2008. It was the last day of winter 6 years ago that George W. Bush declared war in Iraq. It was the last day of winter 6 years ago that birthed the reign of terror. It was the last day of winter 6 years ago, days of shock and awe began. Since that last day of winter 6 years ago, over 4,200 U.S. soldiers are casualties. Since the last day of winter 6 years ago, 151,000 Iraqi civilians dead, counted by the World Health Organization, March 2003 from the June 2006 study. Since the last day of winter 6 years ago, this country has had a stain on its soul. Since the last day of winter 6 years ago, we all still wait for peace, still wait for the great leader who will stop this war. Since the last day of winter 6 years ago, the innocent have waited for restitution. Since the last day of winter 6 years ago, the slain have waited for justice. And since the last day of winter 6 years ago, I have waited for peace. Thank you. Wow, well, that was powerful. That was a lot of fun to read. I don't do readings very often, and thank you all for your attention. And now we're going to throw it open with an open reading.
Where'd you get that?
So let's do popcorn. We'll go around. I don't even know what time it is. Somebody got popcorn?
Radio show.
Okay, so